Hello and welcome to another installment of JMC Gradebook instructional videos. Now, the first thing we're going to do here, this video, is grading. First thing you're going to want to do, as always, with JMC is log into your gradebook. Once you're logged in, first thing you want to do is check which term are we in. Now, I'm currently on quarter 2, which is fine if you're on quarter 1, 3, or 4. Next, you're going to click on Scores, and we're going to go to Categories and Assignments. Now, if you notice, I've got a couple of categories and assignments already input, and that's because I had done that from my previous setup. I'm going to go through here and delete these just because, well, I don't need them. Now, if you notice, you have quarter 2 selected. You will see your classes available under the course option. Next, you got calculating your grades. Is it going to be under a weight or is it under total points? Now, the weighted grade is nice if you value your tests a lot higher than your homework, but if you do total points, it's just going to take your total points available and average their scores. I'm going to show you how to set up a weights first, and then we will set up total points, and we'll see a dramatic difference between the two. Next, I want to add a category. Now, a category is an item that doesn't have point value yet. A category is something similar to tests. This is a place where I will put all of my assignments named tests, so my midterm, my final exam, maybe a chapter test, are all going to rely under this category named tests. I'm going to start by giving it a weight. Now, I value my tests slightly different in my class because there are so few. They are actually worth 30% of a grade. After I've got that 30% in and the name, I just hit enter and there it appears. I have tests and I've got a weight of 30. My next category is going to be homework because there is that inevitable need for homework. Homework is valued at 30%, no, actually it's valued at only 25%. There's quite a bit of it, but still, it's a big chunk. Add another category. The last thing I add is projects. Now, projects are pretty much what my entire class is made of. So, I need to input a name, I need to give it a weight, in which case it is worth actually 45%. It's a big chunk of the students' grades, but you know, it's good for them. After I've got my categories input, I now need to add my assignments. Click on the one you want to add to first. I'm going to start with homework. I got my first assignment that I need to add to, so I'm going to click my Add Assignment button. Again, categories is just creating a broad folder where assignments is actually saying what they have to do. Now, there's a couple things that pop up. You have the assignment name, give it a name. So I'm going to just put in Photoshop because that's what we're working on. I could give it a max score. How much is this going to be worth? And this assignment's worth 25 points. And the date. Now, for the date, what I do is I place the due date of these assignments, in which case we are going to have this assignment due on 11/11. If I hit the return button, there we go. Now, if you notice, a couple things changed. On my left-hand column, because I only have one assignment in, and it's homework, it is going to be valued at 100% because it's the only one there. I add another assignment, Photoshop 2, and I make that worth, let's say, 15 points this time, and it's going to be due on the 15th. I hit return. Notice how things changed. Even though it's only 15 points, it's still worth 50% of their homework grade. What's nice about the weights is it takes and it makes it so no matter what point values you give everything, they share across the board a total value. So I could have a bunch of 5-point assignments in here. For example, and 5 points. Well, that one just now is 33% again. It values it based on a weight. Now, if I change this around and I go to total points, what it's going to do is it's going to give this example a much meager portion than my overall Photoshop assignment, the first one. Because it's only worth 5 points, it's not going to impact the grade as much, whereas the Photoshop assignment is going to be a bigger impact because it's worth more. I stick with total points. I hit my done button once you got your initial assignments in. Now comes the actual time where you got to do grading. Go up to your scores, hit assignment scores, and then I get my new screen that appears. Now under this assignment scores button, you can see your other classes, in which case I don't have anything filled in for yet because it's a new quarter. But on the left, you're going to see student names. These are everybody that is currently in your class. You can also click the little blue I button and it'll appear with actual contact information for people that you wish to get a hold of if for something happens. Now, if you also notice, the assignments I added are posted, but not my categories. Again, categories act like a folder where the assignments are the actual items students are turning in. To input a grade, I'm going to start with my Photoshop assignment. Granted, these are all false grades for now, but setting the example. Let's say the first person got a 24, and he's at a 25, 23, 22. I'm just going to oh, too many numbers there. Sorry, going back. I'm just going to input a couple of random grades. Oh, maybe he didn't do a lot of work. Let's give him a 15. How about there, and lastly, there. Now we've got a variety of grades across the board. I'm going to do that one more time over here on a 5 scale. Now if you notice, their grades all kind of sit around this portion right here. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you the difference between weighted and non-weighted. Okay, so right now I'm sitting at total points. Here's my values. They are given based on the impact of the scores. If you double click, this will actually bring up your menu again. I'm going to choose my weighted portion and hit the done button. Notice how drastically that changed for everyone. Okay, weights really do impact their grades. So if you want to weight it, go for it. If not, then that is your own prerogative. Now, because all of these have been inputted and they're not true, I'm just going to hit the done button and I'm not going to save. However, you want to save as often as possible because once in a while, internet connections lose and you may lose what you've been working on. If at any time you feel the need, go back, review what I just showed you, and this should hopefully get you started with inputting your grades.